Hi, I'm Yoam. Today I want to talk about an issue I have dealt with in the past that had a real and direct impact on how productive and happy my teams were. And that is our relationship with our product team. Too many organizations have a built in tension between the product team and the people building the product. And sometimes to the point where each group views each other as enemies rather than allies. At least I've experienced it myself. And the question is why? In my opinion, the main reason why this happens comes down to a bad working process between the two groups and a lack of understanding of the roles and responsibilities of each one. Product managers can get really frustrated with dev teams that never seem to be able to finish anything on time, teams that don't deliver what the product manager expected, and have this general contempt and disrespect for the product owners. On the other end, dev teams get frustrated with product managers that don't have sufficient technical background, product managers that don't provide clear user stories, and don't seem to fully understand the complexity of what they're asking for. Now, does that sound familiar to you? I'm sure it does because I hate to say it, but this type of dysfunctional relationship is more common than it should be. And it is more often than not leads to a really broken product line, sometimes impacting the entire company, the entire organization. The core issue here is that too often we as humans assume people can read our minds, and we make wrong assumptions where in fact an open and direct communication would have been much better. Now, let's assume that both the product team and the dev teams want the product to be a success and that both teams are working for the benefit of the company, which I gotta say, it is the case in the vast majority of organizations. Then I think that these issues we're having stem from how each group communicates with the other one effectively. So let's start with the product team. Product managers. If you want your dev teams to listen to you, be highly productive, and meet your requirements and your deadlines, you need to pay attention to the following guidelines. First, unlike product managers who focus on a product market fit, customer feedback, and sales team requests, engineering teams focus on what it takes to build stuff. And this mindset could be very different than how you as a product manager view the world. For an engineer, in many cases, they don't really care about all the market research you've done, the hours that you spend with the sales team and on spending on customer calls. In fact, all this data that you have might seem irrelevant to them. What they care about is this. Tell me what you want me to do and when do you want me to deliver it to you? So if you want to effectively communicate with your engineering team, you need to chunk your feature requests and your user stories into actionable items that are measurables and are clearly defined, including the definition of done. Don't assume that your engineer's definition of a feature completion matches yours. Simply define it as part of your requirements. And what is amazing nowadays, we didn't have it in the past, you can literally use ChatGPT to write your user stories and help you create really clear definitions of done and test requirements. Second, please show up to the daily stand-ups and end of sprint demos and provide direct and honest feedback. If you don't show up to these meetings, as the product owner, you don't really get to complain at the end if you didn't get what you wanted. But also, if you show up, don't just be there. Also pay attention and provide feedback, because if you don't tell the engineers what they're doing wrong, how can they know what to do right? Next. You don't have to come with pixel perfect wireframes or Figmas for your engineers. However, just understand that anything that you don't define, they are going to fill in with their own engineering understanding of UI. And some engineers are really good at UI, but sometimes you're going to get an engineering style form. And that's okay, but just bear that in mind. 4, if you need to change stuff in the middle of a sprint, that's okay. Life happens. However, and this is really important, you have to understand that this is going to have an impact on all the previous commitments. So you have to be open to changing those commitments based on the new commitments you provided. So how about the dev teams? Well, dev teams, if you want your product managers to help you build the correct features the first time, you need to follow these guidelines. First, ask questions. When the product manager presents their user stories, take the time to read them and pay attention. I know that sometimes you just want to go into coding, but if you don't read the stories and you don't ask questions before you start building it, that can be really frustrating to your product manager because there's only so many times they can refer you back to the requirements without it starting to feel like you're simply not paying attention. Second, provide accurate estimations. One of the most annoying things that sometimes devs do is they don't tell you exactly how long it's going to take. They play this game where if they don't want something, they don't want to do something, they'll tell you it is like 2 sprints. And if they want to do it, it'll be 3 days. Please don't play that game. Provide accurate estimations, the true estimations of how long something is going to take. Third, let your product manager know if you have an issue or if you need to revise your effort estimations as soon as you can. If you show up to a sprint demo as a developer with a critical issue, that's not really fair to the product owner, because especially if you knew about this issue a week ago, because now you're putting them in this weird situation where they need to deal with a critical issue when they assumed that basically everything is done. 4, when you are done with a feature, please be 100% done and not 95% done. Because a lot of times developers will tell their product manager, I am done, but what they mean is that it's working on their own laptop, not that it's working in production. And you have to respect the fact that product managers don't just work with you. They have to work with the sales team. They have to work with big customers. They have to work with their own executive team. And when they say that something is going to be finished on your laptop is not what the product manager needs. They need to be able to share this feature with the real public. And when you don't finish it, at day's end, you're hurting not just them, you're also hurting the entire team. So I want to sum it up by saying something very simple. The secret sauce for product and dev teams to work together effectively is open communication and respect for each other. Whenever you get frustrated, just remember that at day's end, you are all working for the same goal, to make a product and a company great. Don't waste time fighting each other just to realize you are both losing the same battle. If the product or the company fails, no one will even remember these stupid fights and everyone will lose their jobs together. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and spread the word. See you next time. Bye.